Welcome, second years. I thought I'd make this video just to show you how to use the bill of materials, something I hadn't shown you before and which will hopefully help you for next week. So I've opened this router model with all my parts exploded, and I've saved this view. So I'm just going to hit the space button just to show you again. I'm going to call this ISO caps on ISO exploded. All right, okay, and so it's obviously right, it's already created it, so let's go across to a drawing. So I'm going to make a drawing from assembly. I'm going to select A1, bring in my isometric exploded. Not exactly what let's just have a look here. Right, so that's the one that I actually want. I'm going to balloon this quickly, so let's go auto balloon. And let's select something like right hand side. I like that very much. Okay, and then just rearrange these a little bit. So a little feature of ballooning here is that if you want the arrows to disappear and you'd rather have your leader lines point inside the object, you can just drag the leader line in. So like this, and it'll give a little point. Sometimes that's nicer than it just pointing to the edge. Oops. See. Okay, so that's that done. All right, so I've got my balloons in place. I'm going to go to tables and select this view, and then on the left hand side here, you know already that you can select things like top level only, which will give me assemblies only instead of sub-assemblies if I've got a large part with lots of assemblies. So you don't need to worry about this too much at the moment. The configurations one is actually really useful, but we'll deal with that in another lesson. So I'm going to click OK. And so this is what you would have gotten as your thing. So a lot of you have just taken whatever you've been given and filled in whatever you thought was appropriate. So I want you to just look at how you can change this. So for a start, this acts very much, well, it is actually almost like an Excel file. You can do things like select a column and you can get things to line up, say on the left, on the middle or the right, to the top, to the bottom, so forth. So let's just put that to the middle. Then you can actually, if you're inside one of these things, you can just right click and go to insert, and you can put in a column either to the right or to the left. So I'm going to put in a column to the right, and then I can just double click inside here and I can give this a name. So I'm going to give this material. Let's just go. In fact, I'm going to type in material. So it's not in the right case, and you guys have the option in your version, not in my version, to just say all uppercase, and it'll do everything inside this column as uppercase. So that's one way of adding a column, so and changing it. The other way is, well, let's just go the other way, insert column to the left. So that's, yeah. All right, so I think let's call this manufacture. And so then I can just type in what I want here. So if I don't like this one here, part number, the reason it's called part number is because most people name their files using numbers, a number system. So it would usually be a part number. But because I've asked you to do it differently, I want you to change this to part name. Type that in as caps, although I can use this button anytime I want. So part name, and then here I just want to So it's going to ask you if you double click in it, if you want to keep the link or break the link. You need to break the link if you want to change it. And I'm just going to call this PCB. So here, a bit on naming. Just try and name whatever you're doing as simply as possible so that you can recognize what it is and someone else can also see what it is. Like this one here, OBSO number 2. I just need to zoom out and see what it is. So it's a standoff. So that's OBSO. That is the code name used by PSM Fasteners. It's one of the fastener companies for this item, and that's the file name I've used. So that's actually a part number, which would be correct if it was part number. So I'm just going to give this a name for now. Actually, let's see, keep link. I think we can still keep link as well. The keep link thing, I think, will update any future drawings where you use this part with whatever it is that you're putting in this thing. So I'm going to say standoff, and I forget what it is. So I think it's 5 millimeters, but it's probably more. And so that's how you would just name these one by one. You would just go here. So you would say keep link because I want to use it elsewhere. And I want that to be, that is number 3. So number 3 is the base. Something like that. Okay, and then so you would do the same for material. You would say PCB, and if it's not applicable, just say NA. Standoff, that's would be applicable, but I'm not expecting you to know it, so you can just type in NA. And the same would then go for manufacture process. So you could double click on one of these, select it, Control C, double click, Control V, Control V. This here would be menu. We've got that already, so this would be finish. And I'm okay here with you guys, just the parts that you don't know what, common fasteners, you can type in NA. I'm not going to worry about that. Quantity, of course, and then color also would be NA. But let's say things like the base would be mild steel sheet. I think it's 1.2, I can't remember. And once again, if you know that that's going to be used again, you can just select it, double click, paste. Okay, so, and that's how you would carry on. Then, so you would say here, you would say fabricate. And then this one here would be injection mold. I'm not going to fill it all out because it will take too long, and then finish here would be whatever it is, keep link. Typically you would put in like a spark erosion finish. You use an RA value, it's called R.A. Forget how these work. I think it would be something like 22 or something like that, but the mild steel sheet would be powder coat. And then the color you would then put in, well, I'm going to put in ferro, black. Actually, that would be the color. It would actually be a specification for the kind of color. So what we need here is that we go with this one here and go to insert, column to the left. Okay, so that's how you would populate this fairly quickly. A few other things about it, you can drag it around using this little button on the left. You can also, if you want to, for instance, if I want these 3, let's just keep link, let's call that shroud for now. Let's say I wanted the 2 sheet metal pieces to be at the top. Wait for this black arrow to appear in the left hand side and just drag that piece to the top. Okay. It hasn't done it. see. There we go. Okay. So the shroud, I want those two at the top. And what you'll also notice as I do it is it'll actually change the number of the ballooning. So it'll actually put it in. So there, that was number 2. Now it's number 3. So the PCB is number 3. So let's do that again. Take PCB to the bottom, and you'll see it's changed to 5. So it'll actually update your exploded view to correspond with what's going on here. So that's a quick way of doing this. There is another way which I'm going to show you now, and we'll have to hop over to a part to do that. So we're in the base part file, and you guys have this button on the top here, this file, and it will be properties here. So if you're in an earlier version, you might have to go and look at file properties at the bottom here. But if you're in 2020, the button is at the top in any file. Go to that button. Right, so I've already populated these, but I'm going to delete a few of them. So this would normally be empty, and if you're doing this properly, you would actually fill this out every time you did a part file, then you wouldn't have to worry about filling other things out. So let's just empty this quickly and show you what you would get. So you get something like this. So here you can type in, you can either pick from a drop-down list, which would include these top 3, 4 are ones I've added already, but they would include things like part number, all the things you already see in your, or are available in your bill of materials. Other things that you can do is you can put formula in. So if you want the cost or the date completed, you can, there we go, total costs, material cost. You can put those into the value text expression. But for now, I'm just going to double click in here. I think name, it should be part name. Right, and as soon as you enter that, it'll actually create that property for you. Then text, it'll ask you, what do you want to do? Do you want to make it a text, date, number, yes or no? We just want text for now. And of course here I will name this. So this would be the base, BASE is good enough. And that's that done. Right, so the quicker way to do this is to go to the edit list and just type in whatever you want. So let's go test, for instance. Test, okay, and you can say add, and that'll add that category to your list, and then you can go and pull it out afterwards. So I'm going to delete that one, but you can see a reference file number I've added in here, color, manufacturer, process, part name. I can add finishes in here already, so it'll tell you it's got it in. Won't let you do it twice. And then once you've done that, you can say OK, so that now when you go to the next property, you can just select the one you want and then type in here true manufacture process was fabricate. So we'll just do 2 of them for now. Say OK. All right, and so then if I go back to my drawing and I can actually then pick from this top category. Okay, so you have to select the column, then you'll see the column property appear, and then you can go and select from one of those properties that you had already selected. So let's say it was part name. Let's see if we can find that part number. Custom property. Okay, here you just have to select custom property before you can select the name that you've created, because it's a custom property. And then you'll see that whatever custom property you applied to each part will appear instantly in your table. So you have to go write all of this out if you've done it already. So I obviously haven't named these other, I haven't gone back to those parts and named them. But if I had, you will see it will actually update it. But also here you can see that the powder coat part, because I kept the keep link active instead of just sort of deleting the link, it's kept powder coat as the finish. So that's the function of that part. So those are the 2 ways that you would populate the bill of materials. think that's about it for now. So thanks for watching and happy drawing. I'll see you next week.